the Harbir Singh Podcast.
It's a huge honor today for me to have Harmeet Bharya today on the show. She's a poet, she's an author, she's an amazing woman. We actually had a contract with Sikh Channel to do a show, and she was our first guest, and then coronavirus hit. So unfortunately, there's been a bit of a delay on getting that out to you, but fortunately we can get this out within the next 24 hours, so she won't have to wait so long this time. Thank you for coming on the show. Before we get into it, if you could please smash the thumbs up button, leave a comment, like, subscribe, share. All of those things really help the channel out and really help this video get out to more people. And this is a very important video, so please make sure you do that now. So Benji, can you thank you for coming on the show firstly?
Thank you very much for having me. It's lovely, thank you.
So the last time we had a conversation, I think you made me cry.
Oh dear, I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, that'd be embarrassing. But so can you take us back to like the first book and what was the spark behind that?
Yeah, so first book is Poetic Secrets. So really, with my writing, it really was my own personal journey in terms of it all kind of started when I was about 14 years old. And it began from like my dad being in hospital a lot. He was very unwell throughout our life, throughout our childhood. So I kind of used poetry as an outlet to kind of just get my feelings out from the inside onto paper. It was almost like a release. And I'm aware that many people have outlets, different kinds of outlets to express themselves, but this was mine. And then unfortunately, I lost my father when he was 49 years old. So I had just started uni at that point. And actually, one day my father had found my poetry file. This was a little while ago, so still when I was kind of quite young. And he wondered where all this poetry had come from. And I said, well, it's come from within, it's come from me. And he's like, oh, maybe you should consider getting this published one day. And that really stuck. That really stuck in my head. And I continued. So after my father passed away, I continued to write poetry as a way of expression, because you go through some quite lows when you lose a loved one, as I'm sure many can relate to that. So that was my first real experience of loss. With somebody being so close to me, so that's where my journey began, where I continued to write, and I kind of just used that as an outlet for expression. And so what I've been doing over the years, I've just been collecting this poetry. I'd write about my feelings. I'd write about a lot of it was very emotive. A lot of it was about sort of the heartbreak and anxiety and, just being in a low place, a dark place and things like that. So I collected those over a period of time, and a lot of those are in Poetic Secrets. But then what I also started to do was a bit of a healing process, because lots happened. So I've had also went through a lot of consecutive deaths after my father. So I lost grandparents and other people that were very close. I think we had about 4 in 4 years. So it was a really kind of quite challenging time to kind of keep losing somebody. So at that time it was sort of like 4 losses. And then so I continued my education and all of that, just continued writing. And then I finished all that, started working, settled down. And I think the next time that I really struggled, and actually it was postnatal depression. So when I had my daughter, and I had her quite soon after I got married. And again, it was, it's a release to just kind of try and get your feelings out. There are obviously other therapies that you get offered, but they're limited. So you get them for a certain period of time, and then you're kind of back on your own again. So what do you do? So again, continue writing. And I had no kind of mindset to go and publish or anything like that at this point. It was just all for me, and I wasn't really. I don't share it with anybody. It's just for myself. And then what happened was obviously 2 years later, 2.5 years later, we decided we wanted to have a second child. But we actually we had a lot of problems with sort of unexplained secondary infertility and things like that. So although I conceived my first child very quickly, very easily, suddenly there was a problem. And we weren't able to conceive so easily the second time. It took quite a few years to conceive the second pregnancy, and that was a set of twins in 2015. So my daughter, bearing in mind, was born in 2011, so it was 2015 that we actually managed to conceive again, and it was twin pregnancy. We saw heartbeat. We knew that there was one twin that wasn't doing very well, but we still had the hope that we were going to bring one baby home at least, because twins. I mean, whoever imagines those. So, but unfortunately, I did miscarry in the first trimester. So so that was quite a very heartbreaking experience, and I think it's because it was difficult to conceive that pregnancy. And then suddenly we're told that things are going well, and you see that there is life, and then it's suddenly not there anymore. So you're literally going through a flood of emotions at that point. So again, I went in a very, very dark place during that time. I had severe anxiety, severe depression. I got to a point where I wanted to take my own life. I thought life was not worth living anymore. I think I felt quite inadequate as a woman. And I felt like, why was this happening? And I just found it very difficult to cope with all the emotions around it. I think I just didn't know how to cope with it. And again, so this all comes out in my writing. Where I write about how does it actually feel. And you obviously hear a lot of comments as well. Like initially, I didn't tell anybody, but eventually I did. And you hear a lot in terms of because I already had a child. It was almost like I felt like I wasn't allowed to grieve because I already had a child. But actually, every pregnancy has its own place. Whether you've had a child before or not, and if you've been fertile before and then not fertile the second time around, that kind of thing, it all has kind of implications and impact on your mental health. It was one of the most heartbreaking experiences for me and my family, and again turned to writing, and then I started a bit of a healing journey. I started to just kind of open up a bit more about my experience and talk a little bit more. I had some spiritual healing. Obviously I have a lot of faith in my religion. So Kirtan was another thing that I would turn to as well. So then at that point, when I started healing, I started to write about my healing journey. What was it that I was doing that was going to help me through this dark time? What was going to give me that hope to kind of carry on with life when it felt like there was no light at the end of the tunnel? So continued with that, and I did get better, and then I basically. I did get better, and then I ended up actually a couple of years later having another miscarriage, which again was it was early stage, but it was another point where I thought, oh my goodness, like this has happened again. So where it's taking so long to conceive, what felt like ages, every time it just wasn't successful. So again, but at this point, I thought, I've done so much work to pull myself together. I really do not want to go to that dark place anymore. I just don't want to do it. And it was almost like a conscious decision where you decide that, you know what, okay, I am feeling low, I'm feeling down, this has happened. But what can I really do at this point to change the situation? There's nothing in the world that I can do to bring that pregnancy back, or I can only look to the future. I can only look at what is next for me. So at that point, I think I just had a bit of a check-in with myself and decided that, you know what, I'm not going back to that dark place again. I'm just not going to do it. And I think at that point, I continued with that healing process, and that's how really Poetic Secrets was born, because I put my head into something else. I started thinking about, I started talking to my husband, I started talking to other people about, I started thinking about what my dad had said to me and things like that. And I thought, maybe I should look into this. Maybe I should put my focus on something else, because the baby thing really isn't happening. And I have got a child. I'm very started to count my blessings. The whole gratitude. We talk a lot about gratitude, don't we? In terms of, when you are in a place that doesn't feel good, or you feel like you don't have maybe everything that you need, the abundance and all that kind of stuff. Actually, when you even think of like 5 things that you're grateful for, which, I do that sometimes when I feel things aren't going swimmingly well, I'll be like, what are the 5 things that I can think of right now that I'm grateful for? And once you do that, you realise actually how blessed you are, and actually everything is okay in the present moment. It's just when we're looking back, or when we're looking into the future, that we are not aware of actually what we have. And then I think once we are aware of what we have, and we have that gratitude, we can live in abundance, because everything you have just becomes enough. Or more than enough. So then I started to think like that, and that's how I managed to kind of just, and then I kind of pulled my head out of all the fertility stuff and just started focusing on, let's give birth to a book instead. It's a very different way of looking at it, but then that's how Poetic Secrets happened, really. Wow. So in a nutshell, that's the story.
I can see why I cried the first time around. You've been through so much.
I think a lot of people go through a lot of things. It's just a matter of whether we choose to share our stories. There's a lot of people who maybe go through a lot, but they just don't share what they've been through, right? I was one of those people as well, who didn't want to talk about it.
So if we go back to the start, when you lost your dad and you're at university,
yes,
I can't even imagine studying. Like, how did you manage that?
I had to take a year out because bearing in mind, so I had a sister who was 3 years younger than me, so she was, she's even younger. And then I had my mum. So it's just 3 of us left at home. So and I was living out at uni in Hertfordshire. So I had to move back home because my family needed me. I needed my family. And there was no way that I could keep on studying. I wasn't going to do well. I wasn't going to excel. I couldn't focus. I couldn't concentrate. We were all very low. We had to have counselling and all these kinds of things. Because it was just, it's the whole process, isn't it, of how the person passes away in terms of everything you go through prior to that, and then actually when it happens. Because I wasn't actually aware that I was going to lose my dad. It was always a bit touch and go throughout our lives, but didn't actually realise that it was going to happen when it happened. So it was a bit of a shock to the system as well. But I had to take a year out to just pull myself together.
And a year as well doesn't seem like that long to deal with that kind of like trauma. Like when you went back, were you okay, or did you feel like actually a year's gone really quickly and I still hurt?
Year does go very quick. It feels very, very fresh. Even when it's been a year, it still feels like it happened yesterday. It's very, very new. But I do think that there comes a time when it's almost like you have to encourage yourself to get back to some kind of normality. Because they say like if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if we stay stuck like we have to grieve. That, we have to give ourselves time to grieve. But if we just stay in that state of grieving, then how is anything going to change, like our mood or how we feel? And all those kinds of things, something has to change. And I think me going back to university and sort of placing myself back into that circle, where I'm meeting people that are my similar age, my fellow students and things like that, and my friends. I think that network is really important as well, because although your family is there for you, you need a network outside of that as well. Because you're all grieving. So So I think it was a really good thing to do, to go back.
Yeah, definitely. And, it worked out. It was the right thing. Did you do anything else during that period of time that you stuck with the poetry, which is amazing, because I can imagine it's not easy to stay motivated to do anything when you're grieving. But
to be honest, I think I did really go back, spiraled really. I think I put on a lot of weight. I started comfort eating and things like that, even because I used to exercise and go to the gym before, and I just felt like sorry, my cat has just run in, and she's
I have dog problems. Yeah, cat problems.
So I did shut the door, but my husband must have opened it, so she's running. So what was I going to say? So I started comfort eating and things like that, and it just I don't feel like I was very productive in that year at all, to be honest with you. The only thing that I was doing was the writing. And talking. I always advocate for talking is one of the greatest therapies out there. However you do it, whether you go to a counsellor, whether you choose to talk to a friend, whether you choose to talk to a family member, whoever you choose. I just think that when you get out what is inside, you're releasing some sort of energy from within that you just don't need to hold inside, because I think it's that thing where they say when you're at dis-ease within yourself, I think that it causes disease. When we get depressed, we have all these physical symptoms. Where do they come from? It's because we're at dis-ease, isn't it? So there's a whole chain of things that happens physically to us as well. So I think that's really important to recognise that.
And when you were at university, did it kind of feel like you were living separate lives? Because you had all of this stuff that you were going through, and then everyone else is just like, normal student life.
I think it was a bit of an escape. So sometimes you don't want to be sad. You want to just get away from it. You just want even like when you're depressed or something like that, even you don't feel like going out somewhere, but when you go and you just have a break, and maybe you might have one good evening or something, it's just a break from being in that mode, isn't it? Breaking that cycle. So I think for me it was like, but when I went home, I mean, my mum was really struggling. My sister was really struggling. Our family was really struggling. So my mum took it really bad. So it was coping with my own set of feelings, and then coping with what was going on with the family, and then not being able to be with the family all the time because I'm studying, and then trying to study. It was hard. But I do think it was the best thing for me at that time.
And were you able to kind of like, because when my brother died, I had to kind of put a brave face on when I was at home.
Right.
Because
I think we were very... I think we were very different, actually. We would cry a lot. Obviously, it's me, my sister, my mum, and we would talk about my dad, and we would just we'd well up and we would cry. And it was like one would set the other one off. But then after a little while, you feel like, I don't really want to do this long term. And then we used to say to mum, like, let's try not to get so emotional every time. Let's try to talk about the good things and remember them in a positive way. And let's not talk about his illness too much. because it was the things that was really bringing us quite low, you know. So there's obviously gets to a point where you can keep talking about the same thing over and over, but the story isn't going to change. The story is still going to be the same regardless. You know, how many times you talk about it. So I think for me, what I'm learning, like I feel like throughout my life, what I've learned is that do you want to keep focusing on the negatives, or do you want to try and focus on the positives? Because I think sometimes we have a tendency, we can so easily fall back into that really low kind of energy and just really bring yourself down. And I just think that being in your environment defines a lot of that and how you feel. So if you're always going to be around somebody who's crying and upset, and they're grieving, they're doing their own journey and you're doing yours. But I think for myself personally, I need to be around a positive energy to keep myself uplifted. Otherwise, I feel like I can get to a point that's really not good for me very quickly. So it's almost like my way of just filtering, like saying, okay, something's happened, let's deal with it, let's talk about it, but then now let's move on to the next thing.
That's really insightful, because I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast yesterday, and he was making an argument for psychedelics and mushrooms, and he was talking about how people who've gone through trauma, if they take certain drugs, it can help them with trauma. And the person he was debating this with was saying that you rob a person of the ability to grow from the experience when you rely on the drug for relief from the experience.
Yes.
So it sounds like you've done a lot of work on yourself, and a lot of hard stuff that you've had to practice to get to know what helps to manage your emotions and to manage your state.
It's a growth, isn't it? You know that when you're hit with a difficult time, what works for you, because what's going to work for me isn't going to work for you, and vice versa. So it is really about finding that for yourself.
Yeah, and then the other challenge is keeping it up, right? Because it's
you can fall into the habits.
It's easy to do these things when you're really down, and then when you feel a little bit better, you forget about the things that helped you get better.
100%.
I'm thinking of myself here. So I have a friend who was trying for a baby, and she was really upset because every month she would take the pregnancy test. Like, her period might be late, and she'd take the pregnancy test, and she was so hopeful, and then every month she was disappointed, and it just felt torturous. Seeing her go through this process, and then on top of that, people around her, everyone was getting pregnant, and so she would have to be happy for them, but also she's kind of feeling like, well, why not me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I have a kid? So can you talk about that journey? Because I think for people who are going through it, not everyone, like myself, will fully appreciate how difficult it is.
Sure. So even with me, I think I took it for granted, the whole pregnancy thing. And I'll tell you why. Because I conceived my first child so quickly and so easily. We were not thinking about kids when we conceived her. So I literally took it for granted, because I thought, oh, well, that was easy. Do you know what I mean? So you automatically, in your mind, you think the second time is going to be exactly the same. But little did I know that a lot can change. In the space of even 2 years, something significantly wasn't. It just wasn't meant to be, or whatever the reason was. But I'll tell you what it is. The hardest things I found about it was dealing with the social pressure. So when you go out into society, when you have to attend events, and you have to see people, even within your own bubble, and you get asked, are you not going to have your second one? So for me, it was, are you not going to have your second one now? Don't you think you should have your second one? Or thinking about having any more kids? And the thing is, when you're already trying and it's not happening, and I went through that same process that you described, you're doing the ovulation kits, okay, firstly to see, when you should be trying, and then you wait for 2 weeks. And then you think, right, your period's, and you go through that, and you are hopeful. and I'm trying these vitamins. I'm trying all these things. I'm Googling all the things I could Google. And then I think I'm going to go to the doctors and find out, are my hormones okay? Go and see a consultant and find out, is there something that needs investigation? And I was diagnosed with a PCOS at one point. And they said, oh, well, your chances are less because you've got PCOS. And I had scans before and things, I tested before, and I was never diagnosed with PCOS. So it was very strange to have this diagnosis suddenly. And I thought, and they were like, we could give you this, and we could do drugs, and I just did not. I believe in a very holistic approach to creating life. I feel like if God is going to bless me with a child, He will bless me with a child. If and when it needs to happen, and that's my sort of thought process. So I didn't go through that. People were like, why don't you do IVF? Why don't you do this? You've had a child before, so the chances of it working are high. And there was all these sort of advice and opinion, and you don't want that advice and the opinion actually, because you're already kind of debating so much in your own mind and with your partner, and things like that. So that journey, that pressure from society is really hard, and I think that we should be ever so mindful when we approach people, and whether they've been married a year or whether they've been married 7 years or 10 years, whether they've got kids or not, we should not be kind of prying. We should pry into their life, into why are they going to have kids? Are they going to this? Because it is the most hurtful thing. I remember coming home and crying from some programs I would attend, and I'd be crying, and my husband would go, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, because I had about 5 people ask me the same question, and I just didn't know how to deal with it. And he was like, "Don't worry, don't let it get to you. It's fine. They don't know that you're going through that." And I'm like, precisely, they don't know what I'm going through. And it just feels very insensitive to be asked.
Yeah, I think our community can be a bit I don't know if that's true for every community.
They don't realise.
I've noticed like
the impact.
People would just blasé say, oh, bachcha nahi hua, or like, like, gyane ko to lane and stuff, as if it's Amazon Prime delivery. You could
exactly.
So
and then they say koi na ho juga koi na. Do this, do that. Eat
they give you the desi remedies.
Then they start giving you all the advice, and you think, oh my goodness, like it doesn't get better, it doesn't get easier. So there's that side, the trying side. When you're trying to conceive and you've got all this pressure, and every month you just feel, oh, it hasn't happened again. We've lost another month. And with PCOS, you don't necessarily get a period every month. You might go 2 months without a period, so your chances in a whole year are even less. Okay, so there's depending on your health, any complications you've got with your health can interfere with like the number of times you have a shot, and it's so even that in itself is difficult to kind of cope with, and you can get into this spiral of I definitely did. I became so fixated that having another child became my obsession, like an addiction. Like when you just get addicted to keep trying this and that, and you get so obsessed about it that's all you do. And then the more it doesn't happen, the more grief you feel from it. So I definitely did get into that mode. And then when you actually do conceive, you're so happy because you see that you see the positive result on the pregnancy test. And then, when you go for your scan and all that stuff, you're just so excited. You see the little heart beating, and it's like, oh, wow, finally it's happened. You have this moment of you feel, it's an immense pleasure at that point. And then, oh my goodness, you're literally on a high, and then you just drop down, and you go back next time. And you can see, when the consultant's trying to find the heartbeat, and they can't find it. And they're trying really hard, and then they call somebody else. And they don't say anything to you, but you just know something isn't right. Because of the way that they're being, you start comparing to how it was last time and things like that. and you just know, and literally, I think the first thing that I felt when they said to me that we're so sorry, you've lost the entire pregnant, they're both not there. Is anger. Is the first thing that I felt. I don't think I even felt pain. I felt so numb. I just felt angry, like. And I'm not an angry type person. It takes a lot to. You have to press quite a few buttons with me before I get angry. But I felt instant anger, like why was this happening? And it's devastation. I don't want to tell anybody. It's the women that go through it. I feel their pain. Like when I see, even on social media, a lot of people talk about it very openly now, which it's a great platform to be sharing these things because people relate to it. And when I see it, I feel that I can tap into their pain and feel their pain. And then there's all sorts of other things where people might miscarry later in the pregnancy and things like that. So yeah, it's very tough.
Can I talk to you about like blame? Because I see, as I mentioned, I see mums who have acupuncture treatment, and they're always like, is it my diet? Is it is it? They're trying to find
what is
logically, they're trying to find a reason why it's not happening. First of all, and then a doctor might say to them it's stress, and that seems like the most unhelpful thing you could say to somebody who's trying to conceive.
So I would what I've learned throughout my journey. So I am now very relaxed. Like you could say anything to me about fertility, babies. Are you having another child? You could ask me the most direct questions, and it will not affect me, and it will not bother me because I've passed the stage of that yearning. I'm not at a yearning stage anymore. In fact, I've kind of drawn a line under my fertility journey. I've got a child. She's 11 years old. Very blessed. If ever in my life I'm to be blessed with another child, then I'll welcome it. But I'm not yearning for it anymore. So how I got into that place, I think, is an important part of my journey. And also, the strangest thing is that my PCOS, because I think this is a very important point to make, is I tried everything when I was trying to get pregnant. I tried acupuncture, I tried reflexology, I had loads of it. I did Reiki. I tried so many different vitamins. I tried homeopathic medication, natural herbs, like Chinese herbs. I tried all these different avenues to try and regulate my cycles and to sustain the pregnancy and all that kind of stuff. None of it worked. The strangest thing is that when I fell pregnant the second time, so in 2017, I just let go of it at that time. Like, I remember that sort of the second half of that year in 2017, I just let go, and I thought, you know what, if it's just going to happen, it's going to happen. You hear a lot of women say this, and I naturally just fell pregnant that month. It didn't. The pregnancy wasn't successful. It didn't continue, but I managed to I conceived, and the strangest thing is, during, but I was still having irregular periods at the stage. That was always the problem, like knowing when is the right time to conceive and things like that. But what I've realised is in the last 18 months, so since COVID, I've lost a stone and a half.
Wow.
And my periods are bang on every single month. I am convinced that if now I tried to have a child, I probably could if I wanted to. Because I've never had a clockwork cycle. I have a clockwork cycle. And the only thing that I did was I started eating healthier and I lost the weight. I wasn't very heavy anyway. But I was underweight when I conceived my first child. So I was very slim, very slim. I was underweight. Then I must have put on like a stone and a half. Like during the pregnancy, after the pregnancy, all that kind of stuff, which might have contributed to the PCOS. I mean, it might have underlying been there, but it might have exacerbated the whole thing. And now I don't have an issue with my cycles. Like I know every month I will get a period.
So
it's all.
How did you lose the weight? Because I think a lot of people will be interested in that. I've spoken to a lot of people with PCOS. And the second question was, with PCOS, like, weight loss can be really stubborn. I think I personally, having worked with women who have it, I think it's twice as hard.
And it's very hard to shed the weight. So during COVID, I was very worried because I thought, oh my goodness. So I have that tendency where I said I can fall into a dark place very quickly, and I was really worried about my mental health because I was like, oh my gosh, we're not going to be able to go out, we're not going to be able to do anything. What do I do? So as soon as Boris said that we could have one form of exercise, and you could have your you could go out once a day and you could do your exercise, I started using that as a walking. I walked so much. I don't think I've always really enjoyed walking, but I don't think I've walked so much in my life as much as I walked during COVID. And cycling I took up as well. So I cycled a lot, but I walked so much, and I think I don't think we realise how much walking, because I've got asthma. So with asthma, like running and things like that is not easy for me. So walking is like the next best thing. But I think we underestimate walking. We underestimate, and I would do sometimes 12,000 steps, 15,000 steps. It might not seem a lot to some people. But to me, that's a lot of steps for somebody who probably wasn't doing that before. Yeah. I was pretty much sitting on the sofa or on the computer the whole day. But just to get out for 1 hour and do that walking, I started to see the weight loss. And then the other thing that I did was I started to change my lunchtime meals. So rather than having anything with carbs and things like that, I started to just do salads. I started to lunchtime, let's have a salad, rather than, okay, I can have roti, or I can have a normal meal. So I didn't follow any kind of diet, like a strict diet as such, but I just made the meal a little bit more healthier. At lunchtime, so let's have a salad, and in the evening let's just have the proper meal, and then do the walking every single day without fail, or the cycling. And once I lost like a few pounds, and I started to notice that, I feel a bit different. Well, I look a bit. I think it was also about, I didn't feel like when I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't have that body confidence as well. You know that when you look at yourself and you feel happy within yourself. I felt like I was always so used to being slim and slender, and I didn't feel that way. I felt like I was just getting really like my body shape was changing. There's that whole movement around this, isn't there, about body image, and it's almost like you do have to feel good about yourself when you look at yourself to really go out into the world and be yourself. And be confident. So I didn't have that confidence. But as soon as I started, just a little bit of weight came off, it gave me the motivation to carry on. Oh my goodness, if I can lose this, then surely if I carry on, I can lose a bit more, and I can lose a bit more. And then literally, I think it took about 6 months or something, 7 months. And then it was sudden, and I went for asthma review literally a few weeks ago, and they said, Mrs. Bharya, we just want to ask you that your weight is very different to last time we did your asthma review, and just want to ask you, is this intentional or unintentional? Because now we think that you're underweight. And I was like, look, I'm very happy with my weight, because this is the kind of weight I was at when I had my first child, and I felt completely healthy. So I feel this is right for me. But yeah, so that's all it was. Really simple steps. Nothing like major.
And with PCOS, what's been your experience with that? Because I know you mentioned irregular periods and stuff. Is there anything? And you said that you tried everything under the sun, and nothing helped with it. But it seems like exercise has helped.
I mean, reflexology did help a lot. And I tell you how it helped, because with PCOS you can get a lot of anxiety symptoms sometimes. Because your hormones are fluctuating so much, it does have an impact on how you feel. So just having some kind of holistic treatment it helps you keep it keeps you calm, I think, more than anything else. It just calms you. Like when we meditate, it has a calming effect. I think when we go out and we get these kinds of treatments, we're releasing the energy, aren't we? So it's I think it just acts as a bit of a balance to your mind, even if it's not doing anything else. So I still, even now, I think, I want to go back to reflexology. I want to do it.
So you recommend exercise, and you mentioned the lunchtime meal was the main dietary change.
Yeah, your diet it is important how we eat. Like I could get through a whole packet of biscuits just sitting there. I used to do that. I'd be watching TV and I'd get a packet of biscuits and I'd just eat the whole lot. But now I know that's such a bad habit, like to do that. So I don't buy the things. Where I think, if they're in my cupboard, I'm going to end up consuming them. Why should I buy them then? I shouldn't buy them.
Yeah.
And if they're not there, I'm not going to get tempted.
So I've noticed women with PCOS have cravings for sugar.
Yes. So right before your period and things like that, you might crave chocolate. You might crave things like even now. Sometimes I do. Before, like I crave a lot of potato. Like during that time or before that time, I noticed. I've had a potato craving throughout my pregnancy. So, I think it's just something that my body likes. But again, that's a really, it's a cut off, isn't it? So it's going to load you and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Okay, that's really informative, because I know a lot of women will resonate with the stuff you've said. So with miscarriage, do you have any advice on how to deal with that? I have a patient of mine who, unfortunately, she had a stillborn, and she was devastated for a really long time. God's grace, she's had another child now, and she's kind of turned the corner. She seems happier and more at peace. But that initial kind of year or 2 years, it seemed like it kind of tore the family apart.
I cannot
do you have
imagine.
Any advice?
Yeah, I cannot imagine. So I always think to myself, if I didn't have a child, I don't know how I'd feel. Honestly, the women that go through it, that they're just trying, like they have no child, and they're still trying, and they have this hope that one day they're going to have a child. I try to sometimes I'm a bit on empath. I try to put myself in their shoes and to just imagine I didn't have a child and we hadn't had my little one then. Like, how would we be feeling? Like, I think it would be so crushing. But having said that doesn't take away from the fact that we could have been. I could have been a mum of four. If all those pregnancies and those they kind of gone to full term, I would be a mum of four. And I always say that I could have been a mum of four, but I would say that healing, the healing journey doesn't have, you can't put time frame around it. That's the first thing. You can't say by this time you should be better, you should be feeling better. I think everybody's journey is different. But I would always say that talking or finding an outlet that works for you. It doesn't have to be what I do, poetry. It could be, and even some people's outlet is sports. Somebody's is art. Somebody else is something else. Singing. It could be anything. So whatever your outlet is to find something, like actually go and when something like that happens, like to maybe focus on your purpose in life. Like, what is your purpose here? Like, when you can't get what you need from the outside, I think you have to go inwards. That's the only thing that I realise, that sometimes you feel like maybe everybody around you is trying to help you, but it's not really helping you. Like, it's not helping you through your healing journey. And there's something more that needs to be done, and only you can do that as an individual. And I think it's going inwards. And really asking yourself, like, okay, this thing isn't working out. So it could apply to anything in life, really, not just fertility and miscarriage and things like that. But what is it that you can do? What is it that you can take control of in your life right now? If you can't control that situation, what can you take control? Like, and I remember, like, I started to think about my purpose. Like, what is my purpose in life? Is it just to be a mum? Or is there something beyond being a mum, that I can do? And I think for me, it was like, I want to share my journey. I want to inspire others. I think that these things are taboos. Like nobody wants to talk about periods and PCOS and things like that. It's like, oh, not the done thing to talk about. But why not? Why don't we talk about it? Because once we normalise these conversations, they become a normal part of our everyday life, don't they? And you won't hesitate to ask me a question about something. Oh, Benji, you went through that. I've got somebody else. Like, could you make a suggestion? And we learn from each other. You know, and we help each other that way. But if we all stay in our bubbles and we don't say anything, we're actually limiting ourselves and limiting the information that we can give to somebody else that might help them, because they might conceive and they might go and have a child. So I think of it like so even with the situation like with my dad, I always think, okay, if he's not here, what can I do to keep his memory alive? I can take every bit of wisdom that he had, he gave me, put that into myself, and live through that, and give that to the world. And then he's still alive, like in some shape or form. So you know, these things, it's like basically what can you find out of a really sad situation and make it into something that basically you can grow from it, or somebody else can grow from it.
Are these
and help.
realizations that you've had on your own, or are these any books or references or coaching or?
No, it's just everything is like I'm not really like I do like to know what, you know what other people do and things like that, and the whole journey of like affirmations and gratitude, you know, all these things that you find in books and stuff, and abundance and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm into that kind of stuff. But these realizations are very personal realizations, like because for me, I had to find out what my coping strategy or coping mechanisms that were going to help me individually, because I could go and read 1,000 books, but I might get a little bit of snippets of information, but really I need to find out what's going to help me as an individual, and what makes me feel good in, you know, the fact that I've had that unhelpful experience, and what's going to help me to kind of move forward. So yeah, I would say it's pretty personal.
And where did these reflections or realizations come to you? I know that sounds like a strange question, but I'm thinking about how in modern day life we can just busy ourselves so we don't actually have to reflect on things or think about things.
This is really it's a very important question. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you something that really shaped the way that I think. Is I had something called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay, it's almost rewiring your thought processes, the way we think. You have an unhelpful thought, and you're going to try and replace it with something more helpful. Yeah, they teach you that. You worry. How do you kind of not worry all the time? You know, they teach you these concepts, these tools that you can. It's like a tool set that you can use to really rewire the way that you think, and that has to be the best therapy that I've ever done in my entire life. And I would recommend it not just to somebody who's got anxiety and depression. I think as a life skill generally, because our thoughts is what creates our emotions, and our emotions is what has an impact on how we behave, and then how we behave is our outcome, right? So it all starts in the mind. So the best thing that we can do is to work on the mind, because then everything else follows.
Yeah,
so,
that makes a lot of sense, and it resonates with Sikhi as well, right? Like in Gurbani says, "Vichar mare tare tare altitude nare." Like if you can kill your thoughts, if you can control the mind, then you can win the game. So yeah, I think everything comes down to like the root, which is the thought.
Exactly. So that's why now I think my brain has become wired to when something. So like I had to go to a funeral last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'm not good with funerals. You know, I will avoid them if I have to. But it was somebody in our family who was close, and I wanted to go. So I had to really tap into all of that and think, okay, all right, I've had my experiences, but what thing can I use, what tool can I use to kind of help myself through this funeral, you know? So it's things like that. It does help you. Like these therapies are very, very useful.
That's amazing. I want to ask you a couple of other things actually. It's a slightly off-topic question. It's not completely off-topic, but the mums that come to see me, they usually go down the naturopathic route, which is the acupuncture and stuff. And then the research that has come out of the hospital that I used to work for is that if you have acupuncture in conjunction with IVF, it doubles your chances. So a lot of those women, I will get them to, I will say, start the process of going for referral for IVF. If you get pregnant before that, great. If you don't, at least you haven't missed out on that 6 months, a year, 2 years it's going to take you. But you opted not to go down the IVF route. You mentioned that you wanted to. You felt your belief is very strong. You thought if it's meant to be, it will happen.
Yes.
Is that the reason why you didn't go down that route?
There's a few reasons. So that is one of the reasons. Another reason is that I already have a child. I already have a child. If I didn't have a child, then maybe I would be thinking that way. I would be thinking, yeah, I need to do something more because I really want to have a child. I want to have at least one. Because I'm already blessed with a child, I felt like it's okay, you've got a child, and it's not the end of the world if you don't have another one. I just feel like I'm being greedy, you know, like I'm always asking for more rather than appreciating what I have. So that was another reason, and the other reason was more around my fear and anxiety. I don't like hospitals, I don't like needles, I don't like putting things into my body that are artificial. So it was around that as well. To be completely honest with you.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Because it's not an easy process to go through.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's definitely not an easy process. There's nausea. There's side effects from the drugs, but it's I think it's worth addressing it because, like you said, for some mums, if they haven't had a baby and it's important for them to have it for whatever reason.
Yes.
It is a viable option. Like it's very, in my experience, it's very successful.
Yes.
And so I feel like but on the other hand, the moms that I know who've had it, nobody knows they've had it. I only know because they come for treatment. So there's a lot of stigma around that as well. No one really wants to talk about that as openly as well as the other topics that we've been talking about. So I just wanted to mention that. I wanted to talk about trauma because you've been through a lot. You lost your father, you lost twins, another pregnancy. You mentioned like 4 deaths consecutively in a row around the time of your father's death. So you've been through a lot of trauma, but from what you were saying, you said you wanted to focus on abundance. So I wanted to lean into that a bit because. To go from having gone through all that trauma to trying to bring yourself into an abundance mindset, that seems like such a jump, especially within our community because if anything happens, it's like, oh yeah, kitna mara hoya, wo ho gaya, like it can be very negative and everyone can perpetuate that. Is in our community.
I think that's why Poetic Gratitude was born from that. This is all about looking at two sides of the coin, shifting your mind, to think from different perspectives. So where I talked to you about the CBT, the therapy that I had and how it gave me a whole tool set to kind of just rewire the way I was thinking and not having those kind of unhelpful patterns. So I put that into Poetic Gratitude, and as I'm writing, I feel like I'm actually doing that practice when I was writing it. The thing about my poetry is I don't often sit down and think I want to write a poem. Things just come. So a line, a verse, it will just come into my mind, and then I'll run to a piece of paper and I'll just write it down, and it becomes a poem. So that's how I write my poetry. But I felt like when I was doing the gratitude, so like I was doing things like, think of 5 to 10 things that we're grateful for, affirmations, like, so when I had anxiety, I was taught like, what things could I say to myself at that time that made me feel a little bit more at ease. So things like, I am safe, I'm always looked after, Vaiguru is inside of me, I used to say that, I am happy, I can get through anything. I will never be put in a position that I cannot tolerate. Things like that. And then when as soon as you say that to yourself, that any situation I find myself in, I can handle it. I will be able to, because everything that I've been through so far, I've got through it. However it was, whether it was through tears, through darkness, through light, I got through it. So that proves to me that actually I am able to get through many things, as we all of us are. So that's again it all just starts. It's all from the mind and how we think and the thoughts. So even like teaching ourselves, like when we get 60,000 thoughts a day or something. That enter our mind. So out of those, they're not all going to be like really positive thoughts, are they? You're going to sometimes maybe undermine yourself or something. So when you get that thought, like, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to dwell on it, or you want to let it float away, or what do you want to do? And I've written about things like that in there, about how do I deal with thought. Let it drift, engage. Do you want to engage? How long do you want to engage with it for? Okay, acknowledge it, but then let it go, because actually it's not going to help me in my day-to-day, and maybe I can think about something else and replace it with something else, and then that way it just becomes a bit of a domino effect.
Yeah. Okay, so different topic now.
Yeah, go for it.
The process of becoming an author, how did that happen?
So I first started looking into it, like self-publishing, go traditional publishing routes, because there's so many routes you can take. There's the hybrid. So I actually went through a publisher. I submit my work, and then you have to make an investment in it, but then they make an investment in it as well. So it's like you work as a bit of a partnership, So there's many ways to do it, but you can do it for free on Kindle and things like that if you want to completely go and do it yourself. But you can also go the traditional publishing route, which is much more challenging, which is where you have to write to a lot of organisations, a lot of publishing houses, and then they have to accept your manuscript and review it, and then they give you a response and things like that. But that's obviously you've got to have you've got to have some sort of how can I say, like credibility backing, for that kind of. It's not easy to get that kind of contract, but there's definitely easier options to do it. So I did a lot of research on how can you publish a book. And then it was a matter of pulling the work together, making it into a book. So making sure that you set out the chapters or the themes and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it's poetry, isn't it? So it's more like themes and things like that. And then pulling that all together and then sending that off. And then basically liaising with them, it's not a straightforward process, because you have to get it checked in terms of the quality of the work as well, and things like that. It's good to do that, and the proofreading and all that kind of stuff. So and then obviously then you've got the marketing side of it. So there's no good publishing a book and then telling nobody about it, because nobody's going to know about your book. So there's a lot of events that you've got to set up, which I was doing. Trying to get into the media, which I was lucky to have done that. Just really getting yourself, building yourself a platform where you can talk about your work. And really, for me, it is like I do it more as like to help people than anything else. And just to share the journey. I think we need more models. We need people who kind of pave the way forward for people to talk about these, have these conversations. Yeah.
And it's inspiring to see people from our community getting into different spaces, and I think I have looked up actually Sikh authors, and there's a handful of people that I've been able to come across who are writing in the kind of the public space, not just the niche of within the Sikh community. So where can people get your books?
Amazon, anywhere online, any bookstore online you can get it from. They can order it from my website, Amazon, anywhere. Really, it's all available online.
I'll link to all of those in the description box. I'll add a link to.
Yeah, but Amazon, I mean, everybody buys from Amazon, so I would always suggest that.
And where can they connect with you? Where can they find out more about you? Where can they follow you?
So Instagram is my main platform that I engage with on people. So we've got Harmeet Kaur Bharya, is where you can look up all my previous work, and then Great Thinkers is where I just share share anything to do with, it's more mindset stuff now. That I try to do. And during COVID, I've just given a little bit of insight into my life and what I've been doing and things like that, really. Keeping it very, just like personable. It's like where you can just relate to the person and get to know them for what they are, what they like, and things like that. So, yeah.
But I just want to say I really appreciate your candor. This has been a really wonderful conversation. So thank you.
You asked some really important questions, I think, that people would benefit from. So, you're equally, engaging everybody. So.